Predicting bond type. Elements can be classified as metals, nonmetals, or metalloids. This classification can tell us the type of compound formed by two elements and how to name it. A metal and a nonmetal usually form an ionic compound. In ionic compounds, electrons are transferred between atoms to form ions. The charges of ions formed by main group elements are always the same, so the formulas for ionic compounds formed from these elements can be determined using the periodic table. Sodium, +1, and chlorine, -1, form a compound with the formula NaCl. Magnesium, +2, and bromine, -1, have the formula MgBr2. And potassium, +1, and oxygen, -2, have the formula K2O. Since no other formulas are possible for these ionic compounds, their names do not include any information about the number of atoms. NaCl is sodium chloride. MgBr2 is not magnesium dibromide. It is called magnesium bromide. And K2O is not dipotassium oxide. It is called potassium oxide. Two nonmetal elements usually form a molecular compound. More than one kind of molecular compound can often form from the same elements. For example, carbon and oxygen can form a compound containing one atom of each element with the formula CO. They can also form another compound that has one carbon atom bonded to two oxygen atoms with the formula CO2. Since these are different compounds, they must have different names. Often, the names count the number of atoms. CO is carbon monoxide, and CO2 is carbon dioxide. There are many rules for naming compounds, and the distinction between ionic compounds and molecular compounds is an important starting point. The periodic table can show you whether two elements are metals or nonmetals. Knowing that, you can predict if they will form an ionic or a molecular compound. Key takeaways. To summarize, the periodic table can be used to predict whether elements form ionic or molecular compounds. In general, compounds containing one metal and one nonmetal are ionic. Compounds containing two nonmetals are molecular. The names of molecular compounds, but not ionic compounds, may indicate the numbers of atoms.